So we are here at the mug rug. At this stage, we're at this trimming stage. So I'm going to fold that back. And let's get 1/4 of an inch. Or actually this, I can just go right along the edge. Trim it up. How much is that a square? Okay, I think I'll trim off a little bit there. And at this point, you can also make sure your block is square. And what squaring is just making sure it's even, it's the same measurement that it should be on all the sides. So what I'm doing is, while I do have it against the raw edge of the block, I'm also checking my sides to make sure that they end up what it's supposed to be. So this is supposed to be a 6.5 inch block. So I've already squared up these two sides. That helps. When I was squaring up this side, I realized it was a little wonky. So I checked my measurements and I cut to the measurement. And yes, that cut off a little bit of the top of the block, but that's okay because I need the block square. If the block is not going to be square, the mug rug, the binding is not going to be square, if that makes sense. Okay, the last one. The last thing I need to do is to make sure my backing is the same amount all the way around. Okay, since I know my thing is square, I am now going to trim the backing to 1 inch from the edge of the block, from my cut edge. If it's not, you're going to have a lot of excess fabric. Okay, let's. And your back was cut wider. Right. Now it is time to trade over to the pressing. And in our class, we just had them roll over and roll over. And you should not need that anymore. And it didn't press out as well. So it's good just to, what I'm doing is this is folding it so that the raw edge of the back meets the raw edge of the block. And I'm putting a press in it, and a very good press. And if you have squared up both, you shouldn't have little hangy outs or anything. It should show up very nicely in your corners. They shouldn't be off to the side or on the middle. Just a second. As usual, my sewing mornings is right before I go to work. So it's either before work or after the house or on the weekend on Sunday. Okay, that. Okay, so if you see that something did not press right, just open it up, press it open, and try to repress. And you're going to have to hold that fabric because it will want to go where the first press was. Oh, right. Then you just press and fold over again. Now you're asking me, okay, this is a lot of pressing. Yes, it is. But what you're doing is you are providing creases in your back fabric for you to, one, it kind of gives it a little memory and it will fold there automatically. Which will help later on. And I mean, if you do one of these without folding, you'll realize it's a little bit more difficult. Okay. That side. So what you're also doing is you are putting a double crease into your fabric. Okay. The first crease is along the edge of the block, and the next crease is half again out, because your next stage is, you can unfold them, your next stage, and this is only one method. I cover another method as well. So I'm gonna press corner, and then when I fold this up, I'm not folding it to the point here, okay? I am folding it to my mark right here. And I'm putting in a really good crease. I do that for all four sides. So this is when you know if you've done your quarter-inch line, how you should have. Next step, so we're going to unfold and we're going to take off just a little bit of this extra fabric. Just a tiny bit. I am not cutting at the fold. I've done that before, and then my corners were gapy. And this is where I messed up, is because I had to readjust. All I am doing, or all this does, is it gets rid of this extra fabric here. So you're not having to deal with it in that. So what I will do is, it helps, is I'm just pinning. I'm pinning right at that point, right at that point in the corner. And I fold this down. That gives me just an extra hand. Fold it down and up. And then fold this side down. And then fold it back up. And look at that corner. That is pretty. That's pretty. Okay. Now, I'll just do all the others. Once again, I fold it back to that corner. It's got that natural fold in there, because that's what we're looking for. We've already put the folds in. Now we're just prettying up. on this one, let me pin it and I can show you, is, do you see it's gaping there? Versus that one, that's a pretty good miter. This one's gaping here. So when you have that, you look at the side that's gaping. This side was good, okay? It's right on that diagonal. So what happened is I probably didn't fold this on the diagonal or something. So I'm gonna, this is the side we need to adjust. We just need to, there it was. So what I did is I just straightened out the corner again. So I straightened it out and I pulled this down. My little ghost of my double press was up, going up this direction and not straight across to the other crease, along the other crease. So I just pulled that down to where it fit back to that crease and then folded it up. And now it is a pretty miter too. All right, I'm going to finish the rest of these up, and I am going to have to also get ready for the day. Once I finish, when I finish this, I will come back to you. All right, so it is time. Let's raise the pressure foot to stitch this. And what I'm going to do is I want to start right in the middle. So I am pushing this pin as far forward as I can. And it's just a slow and steady, and I'm holding this to make sure it is flat, and that takes up that fabric. I'm gonna back stitch there, and I'm actually going to back stitch on this side because unlike my other method, this isn't connected. So I have got to back stitch both sides to give them a secure start and stop. And what I'm doing is I'm just pulling the little tip of my pen away from where I need a stitch, going forward like 3 stitches back and then forward. Then I pull out the pin completely. Okay, let's move this back out of the way and go ahead and pull this through. And when I'm coming up to the pin on this side, I'm just slowly backing it out as I sew. Well, really, I'm just holding on to the head as I sew, and since I'm holding it steady and this is moving forward, it's just slowly pulling it out. And there's the next mug rug. Okay. So on this one, I just did straight stitches up the angle, up the miter on both sides to hold it. And on this one, I did just a little different. I did 2 stitches coming like off this seam on this one binding. And then I did 2 more, kind of like my sunburst that I like to do when I'm cutting my binding, or doing that frayed binding. And then 2 along this to hold it, and then 2 on this side that followed this seam, and then 2 again, and then 1 across, 1 right at the tip here. What this is doing is it's basically there just to hold it. It's not there to keep it closed. It's not there for anything else. It is just to hold this and keep these 2 pieces from gaping open in use, and wash after wash after wash, because it's stitched. This is just, the corners are decorative and need to be done so that it won't start to unravel at some late point. But they're not structural. How about that? I'm used to structural at the house. They're not, they are necessary, but not needing to be tight, if that makes any sense. That is why it is perfectly fine to do decorative stitching. So I did. This is just another method of finishing a mug rug.